What's up, everybody? This is Dan Thompson with AroundTheAssociation.com, and I know I'm back. Well, this has been a while since I've recorded a podcast, and it is the James Harden Welcome Back edition of the podcast. I know James Harden is saying welcome back. What does that all mean in one reference? So the next couple minutes, we're talking about James Harden in this insane streak that he's got going on. What I think is now 30 games in a row that he's now hit 30 or more points in a game. He did it last night against the Dallas Mavericks by scoring 31 points in the Rockets' victory. And the historical significance of this record is the fact of this hasn't really gone on since Wilt Chamberlain, was doing this back in, in his heyday. And it was a completely different game in the NBA back in those days because Wilt Chamberlain was at a height advantage, a skill advantage that was just uncanny over everybody else. This was going on in the days where Wilt Chamberlain was putting up these, the 40 and 20 games on a regular basis, averaging over 40 points a game for the season, 20 rebounds, playing almost 48 minutes, playing the entire game. He was way bigger than everybody else. And so in a game where now it's more athleticism and more shot creating ability, James Harden is doing this on a level that we haven't seen. I mean, Michael Jordan, they're playing anything like this. Now the defense are different, and Harden, to his credit, does have a multitude of moves. We're talking about the step back, which is still the most dangerous individual move in the game right now today. Arguably one of the best, individual moves in the history of basketball by one player, because if you just look at how much separation and space he creates, to get that shot off, it's just amazing. Now people wonder, well, it's a travel. It's, he takes too many steps. Well, when you really look at it and you break down his game footage, yeah, it could be a travel in some cases, but the problem is they're not calling it. So if it's not being called, then it's completely legal in the game. And what it's doing for the Rockets is that it's putting them right back in the playoff hunt. It's putting James Harden in the MVP race once again. And if he does win the MVP this year with that, it's just, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's asinine, but, between him and Paul George right now, this has become a two-man race to the MVP. Sorry, LeBron James out in Los Angeles, or any other, it's coming down now to four guys right now. If I think about it, once you think about it, you think about Harden, you think about George, you think about Giannis, you think about Kawhi Leonard. Those are the four best players in the league right now. We're having the four best seasons right now. The way the Lakers are imploding, it kind of took LeBron's name out of the mix. The Lakers I wrote about earlier on last night's, article around the association.com. By the way, check that out. Normally I don't write long form articles, but this kind of had to be written long form. But when you watch, the Lakers, that's a completely different story. But if you go to James Harden, as the last night hit 30 points in 30 consecutive games. He scored the first 11 points, finished with 31. And then he scored, 11 points in the fourth quarter to make sure they kept the victory alive. And, in typical Harden fashion, that 30th point came on a 30-plus foot three-point shot, which is, off a step back, which is Harden's trademark. But when you think about this, now, what Harden is doing is just phenomenal. So let's look at some of the breakdowns, some of the things that he's done. First off, he hurt his shoulder in that Oklahoma City Classic on Saturday night, which they ended up losing. And he's scoring all these points with an injured shoulder. He kind of struggled from the floor last night when he shot 9-23. He shot 6-17 from deep. And if you look at the way Harden's doing it, the Rockets just got Chris Paul back. And he's still putting these numbers up with Chris Paul back. He started this streak when the Rockets really had nothing but duct tape and glue on their roster around Harden. And really the Rockets have been in the playoff hunt with Harden just doing this. Now, the 30 points, in 30 games, he's doing it. And here's the thing. Harden last night added 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals. So this is really numbers he's putting up with other things he's doing around it. And that's the part where it's like, you look at James Harden's numbers, it's like, this historical streak is great and all, but look at what Harden is doing during this streak. Look at the other things he's doing. Yes, he's putting up the points. Yes, he's doing the different things here and there, X, Y, and Z, but, scoring wise, but during this 30 point streak he's doing, it's all been Harden doing other things on the floor. I can just let you know how many different games he's had, different things. So in this 30 point streak we're looking at here, that's gone on. Now, mind you, Harden's been scoring 30 points a game, and the last time he hadn't scored 30 in a game was going all the way back to 2018. So he's been doing it for a year now. Just joking. Last time he scored 30 points was back on December 11th against the Portland Trailblazers, where he scored 29 in that game. So if you really want to go back and take away a 29-point game, and you really put this number in historical context, the last time Harden really did struggle in the game was back on December 6th against Utah, where he only scored 15 points, and the Rockets got the doors blown off of them by 27 by the Jazz. But if you go back to the streak and what he's done, look at the different totals he had. We're not even talking scoring numbers. We're just talking about different individual numbers. He's had, you're looking at about 9 games where he's had at least 10 or more, 8 or 9 more assists in a game. You're looking at, was another 7 games where he had at least 10 or more rebounds in the game. Now, those are just individually great numbers. But what makes this streak even better is the Rockets are winning. This is a tear that we haven't seen in years. Now, with one more 30-point performance, he'll tie Will Chamberlain for the second most 30-point games in a season, or actually a consecutive streak at 31. And then he has another, 34 more to tie Chamberlain's all-time record. Now, we're talking about the all-time record, it's 65. So, unfortunately, Harden won't hit that streak this year. Now, the Rockets are in game number 57 coming up, so he's going to fall, I think, 25 games short of doing it in a single season, which means he has to do it in the first 11 games of next season, the regular season, to break Chamberlain's record. So, I mean, it's just going to have to extend it to 2 seasons. That gives Harden the time to rest, but we all know the Rockets will be in the playoffs. But even to get close to 60, I mean, to get to 55 would just be insane. And when you watch James Harden play the game of basketball, it's just, yes, he's shooting a ton of shots a game. I mean, let's be honest, Harden is just taking a ton of shots here and there. I mean, he took 23 last night. The most he took in any game during this streak is 38. He took 38 shots in a game against the Knicks where he had to score 61 points to get the 38 shots. But he's had his moments where, the shot hasn't been falling and he was just getting buckets everywhere else. I mean, let's go back to the game on New Year's Eve against Memphis. I mean, he shot 8 and 19 for the floor, but he got to the line 27 times. Harden is scoring in ways that, that is just uncanny. Last night, 7-7 from the line, but look at the different number of games he's had double-digit free throws in the streak. You're looking at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Look at about 18 different games where he's gotten to the line 10 plus times. He's getting it from everyone on the floor. He's had games where he's had 6 turnovers, but 7, 8, he's had 9 turnovers in the game. But in mostly every case, if you go to Basketball Reference, look at his game score, with the exception of one game, and that was a 38-point game, against Portland, which they lost. His game score has been over 20 plus in every game. Now, what is categorized as game score is just how great his effort was. And they put a numerical value on it based upon your numbers, shooting, which you contributed all the way around. And most of Harden's performances have been in the 30s. The last 3 games has been in the mid 20s. That was a 36 or 42 and a 31-point game he had last night, only because of the fact of, the numbers weren't extremely huge all the way across the board. His last big game was the 37.1 he put up against the Phoenix Suns back on the 4th of February, and they still won. But piggybacking on James Harden's situation, Harden has been just insane with the ball in his hand, and the Rockets are winning. The Rockets are literally just still winning with James Harden. And we look at the MVP voting and look at what James Harden has done as far as MVP goes. This is possibly the most dominating year James Harden's had. Look at all the years he's had, look at all the different accolades he's had, and look what James Harden has done his entire career. This has been the best James Harden we've ever seen. And that's saying something, because you go back and look at what Harden's done over the last few years, numbers-wise. Let's go back to the 2016-2017 season where he did average 29 points and 11 assists a game. That was already considered one of the greatest statistical seasons of all time. It would have been the MVP that year, but some guy named Russell Westbrook averaged. That was the first year of Russell Westbrook's triple-double streak, and he should have won the MVP that year. Last year he won the MVP, and those numbers were insane. But this year is something different. We haven't seen a guy score this many points a game. I think Jordan was the highest that we've seen at this. Kobe was right up there. I think Kobe's best year was at 36. I think Kobe hit 36 a game one year. He hit 35-4. So this is the third highest scoring average in the history of the NBA. Single season. Not counting the Chamberlain era. Jordan had 37-1. Back in his days when, I think it was 87, 88, where he had 37.1 points a game. But Harden is scoring at numbers that are just insane. Like I said, 36.5 points a game this year. This is the most dominant offensive season we've seen in years. And when you look at it, last year Harden was the MVP of last season. The numbers were scoring 38 and 6 rebounds a game. Harden's averaging 36 points. Like I said, the 7.8 assists has gone down only because he has to score more. But everything else is across the board, at a high rate. He's still shooting 38% from the three-point line. He's still shooting 41% from the floor. And he also plays the league high 37 minutes a night. So, he's taking 24 shots in 37 minutes a night. But the James Harden effect has just been, how we talk about Dwayne Wade, the t-shirts for Dwayne Wade from Bleacher Report. This is Dwayne Wade's, tour of duty. But you look at what James Harden's doing. It's incredible. It really is incredible what he's doing. And this is on a nightly basis. Maybe last night might have been one of those games where you kind of just gave it to him. You just kind of gave him those 30 points, especially late in the games. But the Rockets win when James Harden scores. It's just what it is. Now, why I say the Rockets win, and you look at the 40-point games that he scored this year. He's had 41 40 or more point plus performances this season. The Rockets' record is 21 games of scoring 40 or more points. James Harden and the Rockets are 15-5. Yeah, 15-5. They're 16-5 when he scores 40 or more points a game. 16-5. So when Harden is scoring, they're winning. Just look at the insane number. Just think about that for a second. Harden has scored 40 points for them to win games. He's won 16 of them when they've done that. You go all the way back to you count the 30-point games. The 30-point games are going down to 40, 30-point games a season. The Rockets are still at a winning record. Now it seems that they have to score more to do it. But when you watch numbers, you watch what Harden is doing, the numbers that he's putting up in these performances, the Rockets have been competitive and they've been winning games. And now Chris Paul is not helping. They're going to get back Clint Capella in a couple weeks. Will Harden's streak continue? Everybody's going to be watching. But when you break it down at the end of the day, what James Harden is doing with that step back and what he's doing with the Rockets, it's something that we have not seen in a long time. And so that's what we're looking to see, and that's what we're excited to see. So first podcast is down in the books about James Harden. We'll be back sometime later on this week. We're going to talk about the All-Star game. The All-Star game is in Charlotte, starting on, technically everybody gets in Thursday. So we have a great weekend of basketball coming up. It is Valentine's weekend, so the NBA's gift to its loving, adoring public is going to be probably one of the best All-Star games we've seen in a long time. Charlotte is ready, and with Charlotte being ready, that's what everybody's waiting for. So this is Dan Thompson, Association.com. We'll catch you guys later on. So check us out on all media platforms around the Association.com. Articles have been going up every single day. Just one last night about the Lakers and what's going on out there. Follow me on Twitter at Danny, D-A-N-N-Y, 3, Thompson. Also on every other social media platform. And yes, there'll be more podcasts coming. Catch you guys later. Peace.